Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3. I believe your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself regardless of what chronic disease you may have. And I'm here for you to answer your questions and bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. Today, my guest will be talking about a topic that does not get enough attention, EMFs, and the damages that they can do to our bodies and even our minds, and how you can negate those frequencies through devices. And I know that you really need that strong physical foundation in order to work on the mental and spiritual growth. And if your physical body isn't functioning, it's hard to have the energy mentally to raise your frequency or vibration and heal yourself, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing the body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life. You need that strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at sarabantahealth.com. My company is the sponsor of the show, so as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. First, I want to talk about some tools that you can use to negate radiation, maximize hormones, making it easier to reverse hormonal decline, improve energy, and yes, reverse aging. It seems like right now we are all actually accelerating our aging, and I am not just into stopping that, but actually reversing it. The goal is to reverse insulin resistance, reduce toxicity, improve mitochondrial health, and increase energy at the cellular level. And all these things are tied to reverse aging and eliminating the chronic disease you have. So before we get into the devices that you can use, I wanted to mention some frequency enhanced supplements that you can use to help zero out the radiation in your body and detox you from heavy metals as well. We are at a new reality of the number of heavy metals, toxins, and radiation that are impacting our system. And so with that, Accelerated Health Products is trying to be and is on the cutting edge of solutions. Accelerated Silver. I am so excited because we have just taken it to another level. We have gotten a new water implosion technology that is unlike anything on earth to enhance the efficacy and the power of the silver. It is both a physical product with the smallest silver particle size possible, as well as an energetic product that has the frequency of silver added to the solution, in addition to healing codes to boost the immune system and devitalize those foreign pathogens specifically that we're after right now using scalar technology. And this not only allows for a more charged silver with a higher energy potential, but has the benefit of both particles and information of silver, creating a true infoceutical product. We're going to be talking about bad frequencies, EMFs. Well, there are also healing frequencies, and that's what it is. When we talk about frequencies, think about when you had an ultrasound, when you're pregnant, or when you walk into a room and you hear music and it makes you feel good or it gives you a headache. Those are frequencies affecting you. So it's kind of the same thing, but we're going to get into that as well. Next is the Accelerate. Iodine is needed in all 100 trillion cells of your body, not just your thyroid. Of course, it's extremely important for your thyroid health, metabolism, but it's also needed in every cell of your body. And Accelerate increases ATP production, which is your cellular energy, by 18 times. This is needed for brain function, physical performance, wound healing, fat burning, and that awesome thing called healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction of diseased and cancer cells. Most everyone now has suboptimal thyroid from the spike protein. We're seeing the spike protein do damage to insulin, to the organs, to our thyroids. It's also increasing the susceptibility of our thyroids to all the heavy metals and radiation that we're taking in. And so most people will be complaining that they're tired all the time. They just can't get rid of the fatigue. They're drinking more coffee. Their hair's falling out. Their skin doesn't look good. They don't have the energy in the gym. All of these things are happening, and we're going, okay, what's going on? It's not that you really have changed much, but the spike protein's doing some damage to the body. But one of the effects is that suboptimal thyroid. Acceleradine helps reverse the damage done to the DNA by the mRNA and the spike protein, and it's helping increase that ATP, which increases energy and fat oxidation. It also helps improve the metabolism and your physical energy by supplying the necessary iodine for your thyroid hormones. T4, T3, that stands for 4 and 3 molecules of iodine. So you can't have T4 and T3 without iodine. And Acceleradine is the only monoatomic iodine that feeds the cells directly without having to be broken down like others. So if you take another iodine supplement and it's diatomic, it has to be broken apart from the other molecule to be used. Well, if your body's already low in ATP and low in energy, it's not going to do that very well. So that is why it's so efficient to take the Acceleradine that has 100% bioavailability. Most other iodines only have 10 to 20%, and their iodine is coming from toxic sources. Acceleradine is the only iodine that I know of that is not coming from any toxic or radioactive source. And then, of course, it's further enhanced with the scalar frequencies to detox the cells of heavy metals, graphene oxide, and radiation. No other iodine incorporates those healing scalar frequencies. Nuke no more. So we're going to be talking about devices that can protect us from being exposed to the radiation. But what about the radiation that is inside of us? We have to go at this in a bunch of different ways. There's not just one magic bullet. Nuke no more is the only remedy known to zero out the body from all ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. It addresses the in vivo radio contamination from commercial flying in the jet stream, but also just from our phones, our Zooms, our computers, the Wi-Fi, the 5G, everything that surrounds us. Nuke no more was used in a post-Fukushima study involving 32 people worldwide, and it was the only product that we have seen to reduce that in vivo radio contamination. And it truly is essential. I recommend just going through 1 to 2 bottles on a daily regimen, taking 12 drops, tastes like water, super easy for your kids to do. But then just doing it 4 days a week after that. You use the accelerated ancient salt with it. Why? Because we need to rehydrate the cells at a cellular level to help with the detox symptoms and support that rehydration at the cellular level. Most people are walking around dehydrated, and it's the only salt I know of that is free of microplastics and, of course, enhanced with scalar frequencies to detox from the radiation and the heavy metals. You use it in conjunction with the Acceleradine and the Nuke no more, and you will feel so much more energy and no detox side effects that you normally get when you're starting to detox. You can get those flu-like symptoms. This salt is amazing for that, but it's also amazing for appetite suppressant and just on your food. I don't use any other seasonings other than the accelerated ancient salt. And you've got the accelerated cellular detox powder, which soaks up all those toxins that we're killing off and takes off the burden up from the liver and the kidneys, it takes it through the colon. So you're getting rid of those toxins very easily and gently on a daily basis. And of course, it's enhanced with scalar frequencies to further soak up the heavy metals, insecticides, and radiation. But in addition to that, when you add in the accelerated keto, flips you into fat burning mode within 30 minutes. Why is this important? You're able to intermittent fast. Why is that important? That triggers autophagy, increasing ATP again by 5 times. And then you've got the additional ingredients in the accelerated keto that break down the saturated fats into unsaturated fats. So you have more usable and readily available energy for the body, and you're defatting the liver. You're going after that dangerous visceral fat, the dangerous liver fat. And when the liver's unclogged and it's easier for the liver to function, including breaking down all those fat molecules and including increasing mitochondrial biogenesis. I just did my liver flush this week, and I feel so much better. My energy is amazing. I can feel, I'm not bloated. I feel awesome. It's just amazing what the liver does. And you gotta love your liver. I recommend a liver flush 3 to 4 times a year. And the liver's where that thyroid hormone converts from T4 to T3. So if the liver's not working, then you're not going to get that active T3 and your energy is going to be low. So that is really important for metabolism, mitochondrial function. Now, accelerated thyroid, it's here, and the feedback has been amazing. I've been spending thousands of dollars on individual ingredients to support my thyroid, and this is why we created the formula. It includes 2 natural thyroid formulas to synergize their effectiveness as well as save you money. But we also enhanced it with scalar frequencies to enhance the general health of the thyroid, neutralize the toxins found in the thyroid, such as chlorine, fluoride, mercury, and other metals, and neutralize radiation and nuclear fallout. So this goes along with everything we're talking about. These halogen chemicals and radiation are common in our environments, and they lock up into those receptor sites of the thyroid and inhibit the function. So then you get the unexplained weight gain and the slow metabolism. And lastly is the Cogniblast. It is coming soon, January 2023, the brain enhancement formula that increases mental focus, energy, and memory. I know I have the gene for Alzheimer's, and this is going to help me fight it. It actually has been shown to prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. It increases learning speed, increases memory, increases ATP production, focus, cognition, reduces stress, and overall energy. So it's going to be an amazing game changer for a lot of you. I give more tips and tools through my free group coaching. You can join with the link below on Telegram or email me through the website, sarabantahealth.com. I know that you can always use my help as I'm just there to be answering your questions, but also providing you this place where we can troubleshoot together as a group. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements to work synergistically with each other, and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, sarabantahealth.com. Now to the good stuff. Justin Frandson is back. He is the founder of athleticism.com and EMFrocks.com. He's the author of Athleticism, Whole Body and Whole Brain Equals Performance. About a decade ago, he saw his amateur and professional athletes breaking down from wearable technologies and looked to nature to solve a man-made EMF challenge. Welcome, Justin. How are you today?
Amazing. Sara, thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so excited because this is a topic that just does not get enough recognition. And I was thinking, well, why is it? And I think it's because people want to repress and hide the fact that their wearables and their phones and their devices are causing them damage because they're addicted to them. I've done a lot of articles on dopamine and addiction and how, you know, social media and that dopamine hit is so strong that we just don't want to give it up. But what we're not even recognizing beyond the addiction problem is what these devices, the EMFs, are doing to us. So I wanted to start with, because we've talked about the healing EMFs and the damaging ones in the past. Why don't we start with just a recap of what scalar waves are?
Well, I mean, this is the best intro, especially with all your scalar frequencies. So uh, every waveform is a scalar wave based on that's how the universe was made, is through scalar waves. So that's the foundation of these waveforms from the universe and us, and we're one with the universe. And what that means essentially, it's as a waveform that's unpolarized and distributes equally in every direction. How do you know that? Well, let's take a few examples. If you stand outside and you're in view of the sun, it's not a one directional beam coming right at you, right? It distributes equally in every direction. Okay, so there's that. And if it were a one directional beam, it would probably zap you to death because it's be so strong. So again, distributes equally in every direction. Let's go into the Schumann resonance of the earth, the healing pulse of the earth, where we get that negative ionic charge when you go barefoot. It's not you're in it in one spot and then you're out of it in another spot. That's just not how it works. It's a resonance for the whole earth. And then let's just drop a pebble in a pond. It's not a one directional line that just goes in a straight direction. It equally goes out in every direction. Those are the basics of scalar waves and the foundation of how our universe and we're created on. And when you can utilize those and embed that frequency into your supplements like you're doing, you're going to see that maximum output of it. And on the contrary, when man-made EMFs are made in a one-directional waveform that's different than how we're made, it'll chip away at our life force.
So as we're on our computers right now, we are being hit in one direction. And this is why, I mean, no one can deny the fact that when they go outside and they stand in the sun, it's just like this, oh, my body feels good. And this is why they say, look at the sun right when you wake up to set your circadian rhythms. And the body is in tune with nature, and we're wanting and craving it, but we're fighting it with all of these EMFs and these devices that we're on. And I'm guilty. I mean, I'm on my computer right now. I've got my phone, and it's part of daily life that unfortunately we can't get away from. But what is it doing? I've kind of thought of it as they're hitting us, like you said, in one direction, but it's rattling our own frequency, because in our brain and our body are trying to keep up with it, and it can't. Is that correct? Is that one way to talk about it?
Yes, definitely. There's a vibration that happens in the body, and that's a secondary effect that we see in the body. And that there's a constant pinging, I guess would be another way to say it. So they're always, especially the wireless signals. Let's talk about the wireless first. They're always looking for you to connect to them. And so that's a big thing. So it's broadcasting, saying, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. And most of the time when you're sleeping, no one wants to be talked to. So, but your brain tries to figure out what's pinging it. So we go in these twilight sleeps, but during the day, it's the same thing. We're just awake, and our bodies are so resilient in a lot of ways. But there's so much of the population that's compromised, sensitive to it, too young or too old to have the defense mechanisms in place to really fend this off.
So when you say it's looking for an antenna or a source, does that also imply that the more heavy metals that are in our body, or graphene oxide, those sort of things, are becoming antennas and retrieving that signal even stronger?
Oh, yes. I mean, tattoos, mercury fillings, toxicity from just an array of shots your whole life. There's a long list from the crop dusting that's going on in our air. The list goes on and on. Taking in fluoride in toothpaste, being told lies that fluoride is great for your teeth, putting it in deodorant. The list goes on and on as far as where we get these heavy metal toxicities. But yes, they are conductors. There is no doubt about it. whenever you're introduced to those, you have to go through a massive detox and flush, make sure your methylation systems are open, and use these great products that you have to help flush the livers, flush the body out, flush the radiation out of your system, to allow your body to not have that bucket of fullness full. It's got to be on empty all the time, and it's constant effort to do it. This isn't something that we take lightly, and you want to be consistently being aware of feeding your body with the proper intake and being aware of your surroundings, and then constantly flushing those when you do get introduced to stuff.
It's unfortunate that we're in this situation, and I mean, my husband complains about it all the time. He's like, we're constantly detoxing, constantly eating clean, and why do we have to? It shouldn't be this way. And I'm like, no, it shouldn't. But we're in a place now where that's our reality, and I tell my clients that you need to be gently detoxing on a daily basis, because that bucket just keeps getting full, and it's the tipping point where then you've got the major chronic disease that ensues. But I know many of you have been complaining about hair loss, anxiety, depression, weight gain that's unexplained, where people haven't had, people that have grown up with thick hair are now complaining about hair loss. And so I wanted to get into, why are the EMFs causing all of these health issues?
Because they're a one directional waveform that's just so different than the scalar waves that we're made on. And when you have that type of electrification at the level that we're doing with the proximity protocols that we're self-inducing on ourselves, our bodies will start to go into turmoil. And these are gifts that our body's sharing with us, saying, hey, this is enough. Okay, I have a headache from this, or I'm having behavioral challenge, or I'm not sleeping well. Those are gifts of your body giving you information, saying, hey, wake up and start thinking about what's going on around you, and have that level of consciousness raised. And unfortunately, we don't listen to a lot of those gifts. We're not receiving them. And then we just get inundated with all those health challenges, and they just keep getting worse and worse. But at the end of the day, this is a biostressor on the body. It's radiation. We're not made that way. And it's an environmental stressor. And I'll go on record saying it's the number one environmental toxin that we're facing right now is the rollout of 5G and more, and the higher bandwidths.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that. So what is new in the last 2 years as far as the level of EMFs that we're exposed to?
Well, they keep upping the grid. They're adding more satellites constantly in the thousands, closer than they've ever had, beaming phased array directly down on us. The bandwidth. So one of the things that I see, which is really apparent, when we made our Faraday bags, your phone wouldn't ring inside of them. And then a year later, the brand new phones would start to maybe ring. Maybe they wouldn't. Now, any phone rings inside of our 7mm static bag. That's a military grade static bag, 7mm. It's not an ironclad Faraday cage. It's just a thin Faraday bag where frequencies go in and out of. But this is huge to know that they've ratcheted up the cell phone signals enough that they're burning through 7mm. Now, then I'm like, okay, I have to double these up. So then we made a smaller one to fit inside the bigger one. And they still can find your location on the map in 14mm of a Faraday bag. That's unbelievable. It takes 10 minutes for it to seep through, but they keep ratcheting these signals up so they can go through 14mm of a static bags. I mean, that's pretty incredible, but that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the ratchet up of signal strength. We're seeing the proliferation of stronger signals. We're seeing them pointed. We're seeing developments, housing developments being developed next to towers, and the towers have microwave like literally those microwave beams and the booms, they call them, that are pointing through that new development. And people are renting homes in there. And then the cell towers, and then again, those cell towers, they're pointing in every direction, again, to validate that they're one directional waveform, so they don't work. So they have to have them pointed every direction, but they have those pointed directly towards these housing projects. So, and they're right at the level of the second, third, fourth story complexes that weren't there a year prior, but yet that tower is still there. So we're just getting blasted at levels that are unprecedented.
And they're trying to hide them. I love when they try to hide them with palm trees, and they do the poles in brown, and then they put some leaves around them, making us think that we're so stupid that we can't see them. But they are everywhere, and it's not. You could think, I'm just going to move to Idaho and be in the middle of nowhere. Well, I have talked to people in Idaho, and it almost seems like there's more of the towers in those places that you didn't think that there would be. So it seems like it's going to be something we have to live with at a level. But just like we talked about, we need to mitigate and minimize as much of what is in our control. Right. Yeah. And then obviously not stress about the rest, but you take back control of your health. And part of that is to take some supplements that detox you, use some devices that help protect you from the EMFs, get out in nature, and do all of these things in line to live your best life, right? In 2020, now 2023. But I want to talk about sleep, because sleep is something that obviously gets disrupted by the EMFs. But I say it doesn't matter what you're eating, what exercise you're doing, what supplements you're taking. If you're not sleeping, everything else is thrown out the window, because that's your body's way of recovery. So let's talk about the damage, or how EMFs are disrupting sleep.
Well, when we're sleeping, our brainwave states are 1 or below 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second. The Schumann resonance of the Earth is 7.83 hertz or waves per second. So we optimize really low and slow, really one with the Earth. And for our athletes, when they're in performance realm, when they're in the flow, in the zone, they call it 8 to 12 hertz or brainwave states at, or 8 to 12 waves per second. So if you're sleeping with your butt against the wall, the outlets right there are at 60 hertz. So 50 to 60 waves per second. So that's 6 times, over 6 times what we're at, right? So you're looking at something that's just a huge stressor on the body, just with electricity on the room, even that low level. And then you have dirty electricity, which is 4,000 to 100,000 waves per second. And then you go into the wireless stuff. These are 2.45 gigahertz. 5G is 60 to 90 gigahertz, which is waves per second. 60 to 90, billion waves per second. So we're at 1 to 8 when we're sleeping. They're at 60 to 90 billion waves per second. It's a big difference. So what happens is, if there's a wireless signal or just even low level, your brain tries to figure out what's pinging it. What is that bandwidth that's coming into it? So you go into what we call a twilight sleep. You don't get into that deep restorative sleep until you shut your power off, turn your Wi-Fi routers off, convert your smart meter to analog, put all your wireless devices on airplane mode, load up your home, and have one of these grounding bags on your bed. I mean, that's when you start to get into those deeper sleeps, because what Mother Nature has done for us is she's provided that resonance of a healing frequency, because everything has a frequency and a resonance, and hers is the medicinal one that can convert those one directional waveforms so we can coexist with this stuff. And when we have more the mass of the mind of Mother Nature, in our bedroom, we essentially convert those one directional waveforms so they're not affecting us. So it's not something that our brain tries to figure out, and we go into a deeper sleep and Dr. Rodney White just did a testimonial, and he's super EMF sensitive. And he had me on his podcast. I want to introduce you guys. You guys would be great talking together. But he said, Justin, he goes, my deep sleep tracked at 45 minutes consistently. Maybe I'd have like 60 minutes at one point, but 45 was like my deep sleep. That was the amount of time. The second he put the grounding bag in, it went up to the high point of 100 minutes of deep sleep. That's over 50% improvement with the grounding bags. So the sleep is so huge. And when you can get that improvement, even 3% substantial, but over 50 is insane. And then when you accumulate that over weeks and months and years, your body will then be able to reverse the aging that you're talking about, Sara.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give you a little insight to what I've been experiencing over the last like 4 months. It wasn't anything related to EMFs, but my sleep was disrupted. My heart rate variability was suffering, and I just was waking up with blurred vision, brain fog, just couldn't get it. Like couldn't get going. I mean, I eventually got going with my supplements and with everything else, but that natural of feeling just rested and restored was gone. I changed a few things, and in the last week, I finally started getting back to what I'm used to, and I wear my Aura ring, so it tells me exactly where I am with my readiness and my REM sleep, my deep sleep, my light sleep. The difference in what I feel in the morning is night and day. And it's nothing different. I haven't changed my food. I haven't changed my supplements, but it was just that sleep. So when you are talking about sleep issues, and I would say over 50% of people talk about having poor sleep and need sleep remedies. This is one thing I've got one by my computer every day that I'm working, and I've got one in my bed, right by my head. But can you tell us why this little bag is able to ground us? It's a hard concept for a lot of people to understand.
So when you go outside and go barefoot and get grounded, they call it earthing or grounding. What's happening scientifically is that you're actually pulling in the electrons from the negative ionic charge of the earth. And we get the positive charge from the unpolarized light of the sun, and we breathe in minerals from different climates and microbiomes. So because everything travels in waves and particles, so we get those minerals in through that, and then hopefully we get them through food and supplementation as well. But at the net of it, when you're outside on the earth, you're getting the negative ionic charge, and we're pulling electrons from it. It's a grounding effect. That's the healing capacity of Mother Nature, is to allow you to get grounded by nature. We're literally getting rid of that voltage that we're taking on and being inundated with. We should have no voltage in our body. And when you're grounded, you don't. But each year we go from 3% voltage in our body to 7% with all the stuff that we're wearing, from smartwatches, the wireless earbuds, even these tracking rings and all the wearable technologies. The amount of voltage in your body just gets increased. That's different waveform than we're used to. So we have to go get grounded. And when you're sleeping, most people don't sleep outside on the ground. You're in a house with electricity wired everywhere. In 1889, all the homes started getting wired with electricity. Some are healthier wired, some aren't so healthy. Then the not so healthy ones might have dirty electricity. They might have sparking and static in the lines. And then they might have wireless signals all throughout the house. And now most of them do, because of the smart meters on the home, the automated gas and electric meters. Even if your home is hardwired for your router and you turn all your electricity devices off. So we're being inundated at home from electricity. It's a different speed of a waveform. It's a one-directional waveform. That's the polar opposite of how we're designed, and it chips away at our life force, and our brain and body try to figure out what's pinging it. And so we don't get in that deep sleep. But when you introduce a grounding bag to your bed, or 5 to your home as well, you're going to start to convert those waveforms to be able to coexist with this stuff.
Last year, my son, who is very sensitive to EMFs and energy in general, had to go off to college and live in a new dorm. And he was lucky to be in the brand new dorm, but he could not sleep. His sleep score, he actually stopped wearing his Oura Ring because it was giving him anxiety that his sleep score was like in the 40s and 50s every night, and he couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, it's nerves, it's your first year away from home, it's all of these things. Finally, halfway through the year, I sent him a grounding bag, and he goes, "Mom, it works." And his sleep score started improving and improving and improving. So there is an example where there's no placebo, because he was trying everything. I mean, he had tried all these different supplements. He was going to the health food store and doing everything that he could think of. And we were using the amp coil, which I love that device for so many other reasons, but it wasn't doing the job. And now he's in an apartment that's not so wired up. I think he had the 5G tower right on top of him. And now it's not so close, and he's definitely sleeping better, having a much better year as far as that goes. So thank you. That really was a savior for him. And he really is a spokesperson for the grounding bag. But so I wanted to get into data harvesting and protecting your information. This is something you're really passionate about, and a lot of people, once again, they don't even want to recognize it because it would mean that they have to change their behaviors.
Right. So for the past, almost 20 years, they've been aggregating information, and they started with the GPS system coming out, and then they can triangulate Wi-Fi stuff. And they're basically creating networks for micro tracking, mesh networks where all devices can communicate. There's ultrasonic cross tracking with other devices, tracking your stuff, and then through beaconing back and forth. This is called surveillance marketing in a lot of ways. And they're aggregating this information, sending it to AI for artificial intelligence. It's selling human behavioral futures is what it is. Where Siri, Alexas, they track and record all your information. They send it to the AI cloud, and they translate and transcribe it. I mean, this stuff is misuse of technology, and we're just openly giving them this information. And so right now we're in a really challenging time where it's a different time where they want all these signals always on, always connected. Why don't they have a governor on a cell tower outside of a residential area? When people go to sleep, it should go down to virtually nothing. They just don't. They don't care. They always are listening, always are tracking, always are tracing everything you're doing. And fortunately enough, our Faraday bags will help slow that down.
So why should we be worried about this? Why is this such a big deal? So yeah, they're tracking us. They know everything about us. What is the problem with this?
Well, first off, they know everything about you. They know your passwords, where you live, who you're voted for, all your financial information. Now, with that, it ends up to be a privacy challenge. And then you go into the biometrics. So anyone using their fingerprint or face recognition or voice scanning or palm print to access your phone or for commerce, those are your single most unique identifiers in the human body. It's not a credit card. You can't just change the number. You have those for the rest of your life. So when you're giving that information away, you're opening yourself up for some huge security breaches, potentially never getting loans again, not getting into college, being framed for something you didn't do. Like, who knows the extent of it? I have an attorney friend, and he said it's the biggest wave of litigation right now is through biometrics. And we just don't want to use this stuff for commerce. So it's a huge privacy challenge for our bodies, and then our financial as well. And these things, basically, the reason the life of the battery lasts only so long is because of all that harvesting that's going on.
Okay, so we're a little overwhelmed. You've just told us that we need to shut off our phone and stop our lives as they exist right now. What tips that are doable and we can digest today? What tips do you want us to do right now?
Well, please avoid using your fingerprints, your palm prints, your retina scan, your voice, and your face imprints for commerce or for passwords to access stuff. You don't want that out there. You don't want to be using that. Second, put your devices on airplane mode when you're not using them. Thirdly, grab a Faraday bag and throw your phone in your Faraday bag. If you have to have your phone on and it's not on airplane mode, put it in there and slow down that data harvesting. Even when my phone's on airplane mode, I notice my battery dies faster than when it's inside the static bag. And I have an old cell phone, so the batteries end up going really quickly. But your life of your battery will last a lot longer inside of a Faraday bag than outside just on airplane mode. But those are 3 simple things you can do.
And how are we using our phones when they're in the Faraday bag? Is it essentially you're just pulling it out when you actually have to use it?
Right. You have to take it out to use it. Obviously, if you want to sleep with your phone on and you're expecting a call, the phone will ring most likely inside of there. So keep it in there, zip it up. It'll lower the signal strength to safe levels for what our body experiences. So muscle testing, you'll test strong, and it drops it down to those safe levels. Meter testing, it tests very, very low. Like, the meter will be screaming when you point it at your cell phone. And then when you point it at your cell phone in the Faraday bag, it drops it down to virtually nothing. So super simple.
Okay, and then as far as around our homes, as you mentioned a couple things, turning our phones on airplane mode, shutting off the Wi-Fi at night. Can you give us some tips around the house that we should be doing?
Yeah, I would just call your electrician and have them put a timer on the electrical panel, that you can have a switch that accesses into your home that turns the electricity off in every bedroom. Put a timer on your router if you have a router. Ideally, get it hardwired, fiber optics, faster, safer, more reliable, minimal health challenges. But if you don't, and your router's on all the night, $9 timer at the hardware store. It'll turn off when you go to sleep. It'll turn back on when you wake up, and do that with all your devices. That would be fantastic. Those are the simple, basic things to do at home. Make the resonance in your home closer, as close as you can to the resonance of nature, with less electricity with milligauss and less dirty electricity with vibrations from static in the lines and less wireless millimeter waves. That's what you want to do.
And how many grounding bags would a home need?
You want one on or under each bed. And then you want, in addition to that, you want 5 together to clear 2,000 square feet. If there's solar on a home, you'll want 7 together on the floor of your home to clear the solar, because solar causes, unfortunately, static in the line. They haven't figured out how to ground it and make it cleaner. All the solar homes that I've measured have really high dirty electricity.
Well, we've got a couple minutes left, Justin. What have we not touched on that you want to make sure the listeners hear?
Stop buying electric cars. Get out of that realm. And if you're an auto manufacturer, stop making them so people buy them. Sitting on a massive battery is not good for your health in any way, shape, or form. they can try and ground it out. They can try and do all this stuff. Unless you're dragging a grounding rod on the ground while you're driving, it's throwing up sparks. It's not enhancing. It's a fire hazard. Firemen have been electrocuted using the jaws of life, cutting people out of electric cars to save their lives. They've been killed. This isn't something that we hear on the news. When one Tesla will crash into another Tesla on the 405 freeway, and this happened to my neighbor, they call you and say, hey, are you okay? And you're like, yeah. And then they say, hey, were you self-driving and not looking? And then the person will say yes. And then they make you admit guilt right there. Again, we want to be aware of this stuff. These aren't enhancing products for our body. They're not even close to ready. They're not close to safe measures. We're still using fossil fuels. The carbon footprint's still massive with these. The grid is used to charge them. And then our landfills are filled with acid with dead batteries when we're done with them in a decade. So we're looking at this whole thing environmentally and just basically capitalistic wise in the wrong way. It's brands that are selling these things and industries that are lobbying for it when we should be just going back to the basics.
Yeah, it's amazing how they're advertised as saving the environment, and it's the exact opposite. Well, thank you, Justin. Where can people find you?
EMFrocks.com for electromagnetic fields or frequencies, EMFrocks.com or athleticism.com. And that's spelled athleticism.com. We have all our curated health products there. At EMF Rocks on Instagram, at Athleticism Neurostacking. And appreciate you having me on, Sara. You're awesome. And I love your products. And real quick shout out to you. My mom had some really upper respiratory challenges and sent her a bottle of your accelerated silver, and it went right away. She was able to fend off the bronchial attacks she was having, the massive coughing. She's in her late 80s, and it's scary when someone gets into that shape or form. So to have that scalar frequency enhanced silver that targets exactly the upper respiratory system, I was so grateful for it. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for letting me know. And that is, that's something that people are telling me right now a lot because of what's going around. It's kind of scary out there at the moment. So thank you, Justin. And thank you, everyone else, for joining me today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, sarabantahealth.com, and join the free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on that daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health. And you'll be a part of a like-minded group to support you on your journey, in addition to truly taking control. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and across over 100 channels under Accelerated Health Radio and TV, including Stitcher, Pandora, iTunes, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and share with a few of your friends who may need my help. And you can join us every week live on Mondays at 2 p.m. and Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and use coupon WELCOME10 for 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio and TV, and have a great week. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Sara.